for the presentation of the New African flag, and which will be followed immediately by Baba Kwame to do libation. Ashe. Give Baba Kwame a hand. Let's give these New African Scouts and Panthers a strong hand. And I'm Baba Akinyele Umoja, and I have Dara Cooper and Rosalind Satchel. I asked them to be co-MCs tonight. Why? A lot of people don't know this. Even a lot of people working with Dara don't know that for years she was over the hands off of Assata campaign.
Right.
Give her a hand. Now, I first met Dara when Rosalind Satchel decided to give Assata Shakur an award for her nonprofit. She ended up losing her job for that. Some people make sacrifices. So give both these sisters a strong hand. Well, we can do better than that, family. You know, I'm an art historian by profession, so somebody has to remember the history. A lot of times, a lot of people who commit what some people consider small deeds, it wasn't going into Clinton State Prison and grabbing somebody out, but it was important for our history, our struggle. So we always want to acknowledge our heroes and sheroes. Ashe. And with that being said, we want to welcome you, and I want to turn the mic over to Sister Rosalind for our first program.
Thank you, Baba AK. Thank you, Sister DJ Dandara. Let's give up some love. It's truly an honor to be a part of our celebration today as we remember and we celebrate the life of Mama Assata Olubala Shakur. She who struggles for the people. Yeah, thank you. Absolutely. She who struggles for the people. Her name, Assata Olubala. She who struggles for the people. Shakur, the thankful. So it is in honor of Mama Assata, in honor of Baba Zaid Malik Shakur and his family, in honor of Brother Baba Sundiata, that we come here today to honor our heroes unapologetically. When I decided to give the Human Rights Award to Mama Assata Shakur in 2005, I knew that I was up against resistance. I did not know it would be our people who would be the ones to slit my throat for doing so. And it's been a number of moments like that as we've gone through this struggle, but Mama Assata, in her words, in her book, encourages us to remember that it is their goal to pit us against one another. And we cannot allow them to win. And so my sisters and my brothers, my mamas and my babas, I am honored to introduce someone who we all know very well, someone who has been consistently not only a part of the Malcolm X grassroots movement, not only a scholar in his own right, not only an activist with a heart for our people, not only a founder of our community as it stands. Baba Makungu Akinyele is my brother. His mother, the bishop, pulled us together, and we call her name, Bishop Carolyn Tyler Guidry. for connecting our communities and our struggles, our faith traditions and our faith. I honor so very much what Makungu and Chinganji represent, not only in this world, but in our hearts. So, Makungu, my brother, will you come and bless us with a poem?
Free the land. Free the land. Free the land. By any means necessary. I can remember almost 50 years ago sitting in a circle in a house drinking mint tea and studying the works of Akbar Muhammad Ahmed. And at 18, 19 years old, first learning about this new path that I was being put on, revolutionary New African Black nationalism. And as we sat one Friday night, we got a newspaper by this organization that I didn't know that I was a part of, called the African People's Party. And on the front of that newspaper, there was an article about the capture of a woman who I had never heard of. And they said her name was Assata Shakur, and it described a shootout on the New Jersey Turnpike. And that's how I first met Assata. And then I remember after a number of years, we had been organizing to send people to the United Nations to charge the United States government with genocide against New African people. And we had been fighting for years by this time, at least 5, I think, to get Assata out of prison. And over 5,000 people were organized to go to the United States, go to the United Nations to charge the U.S. with genocide. And I can just remember, this was November the 5th, I believe, or the 4th, the 5th. And just a couple of days before that, we got word that that sister whose name I had now come to really revere somehow had walked out of prison. But then even more importantly, on that day, as 5,000 people gathered around the United Nations to charge the United States government with genocide, she wrote a letter to the people. And that letter declared, first of all, that I am a new African. And she declared herself a revolutionary. And I was inspired by that. I didn't get to go to New York that time. I was in LA doing work. Akinyele was in New York with that demonstration, and I hear it was an exciting time, but I was inspired. And when I heard about that letter that was read to the people, I sat down and I wrote a poem as I was wont to do back in those days. And the poem is called Whirlwind, for Assata Shakur. You don't know where to find me, to lock me up and bind me. You look where you thought I might have been. I live in the eyes of the people, the hearts and minds of the people. You look for me in the alleys, and I ride the wind. No matter how you treat me, lock me up and beat me, I'm determined to one day break free. I live in the eyes of the people, the hearts and minds of You look for me in the streets, and I ride the breeze. I'm a panther, a phantom, a soldier in worker's dress. I'll rise up in the east and then strike you from the west. I'm a cobra, a tiger, an urban freedom fighter. I'm certainly not where you thought I might have been. I live in the eyes of the people, the hearts and minds of the people. I'm certainly not where you thought I might have been. Now, I know you're going to look for me. Say, I know you're going to look for me. Hey, I know you're going to look for me. So if you look for me, hey, if you look for me, say, look for me. Look for me in the whirlwind, the whirlwind, the whirlwind.
Now, I was remiss in mentioning November 2nd was the day that Assata was liberated from Clinton State Prison. And I wanted to tell you, I was scared that day. I was actually in New York and got the word. But I remembered several years prior to that, George Jackson, they said it escaped, but it was a setup and he was assassinated. So that was the first thing that came to my mind. But I think that about an hour later, they said, well, she was headed to New York from New Jersey. Then they said, she's headed to Pennsylvania. Then the next hour, we don't know where the hell she is. So I started in Sheffield. I think you were there at that time. I started to feel a little bit better. I know the older folks who were there, and when I say older, they was only about 30 years old, but they seemed to be very confident of what was going on. But that was an exciting day. That week, those few days in New York were some of the best days of my life, particularly when we had our march to the United Nations. By today's standard, 5,000 people ain't a lot. But for then, this is right after COINTELPRO, that was a lot of people to be gathered during that time. And hundreds of people had signs saying, Assata Shakur is welcome here. Okay, a few years after that, because nobody knew where she was at that point, or at least nobody who wasn't supposed to know knew where she was at that time. In 1983, we got an audio tape called From Somewhere in the World. And it was Assata telling what was going on in her head during that particular time. And as an educator, I always want to pass things down to the next generation. So we were honored to have 3 of our students from our Sankofa Society at Georgia State University who are going to read excerpts of that 1983 message from Assata to our people for you to hear tonight. And so we're going to start with Sister Queen, who's going to give us the first part of that statement from Assata Shakur in 1983. Queen, why don't you join us up here? And again, they're from our Sankofa Society at Georgia State University.
Oru, sisters and brothers. Ahuru, sisters and brothers. The first thing that I want to say is that I love you. And the second thing that I want to say is that we can win. We will win our liberation. And in order to win our liberation, we have got to think positively. We have got to believe that we can win. And if we don't believe that we can win, we are whipped before we start. We've got to realize what dangers exist. We've got to look at those dangers realistically. We cannot afford to have a subjective, distorted, irrational fear. We've got to look at these obstacles to our liberation coolly and clearly and develop ways to get rid of those obstacles. Right now, it's the most important thing in the world for us right now, for us to struggle, for us to fight for our liberation and for our nation. We've got to look at our reality in America right now. The lines are being drawn. The direction that this government is moving is becoming quite clear. The right wing, the conservative fascist army is multiplying like crazy. We're being moved on, brothers and sisters, from all sides. America is becoming more and more fascist. This period is similar to Germany in the 1930s. In the eyes of this government, we are expendable. We are necessary. We are expendable. We are excess laborers. They've got machines to replace us. They don't need us anymore. We are a thorn in their side. We are no longer profitable to the big American US big business economy. Our lives, brothers and sisters, are in danger. Look at the history of this country and you will see that the US government is capable of anything. You saw how they wiped out the Indians. You saw how they wiped out the Mohicans. Do you think that they would hesitate for one moment to do the same thing to us? Sisters and brothers, we are being attacked from all sides. Our children don't have a future in America. There is nothing for our children to look forward to. You bring a child into this world and there's nothing out there for them. Our children aren't being educated in the schools. The schools are warehouses. The schools are producing a whole generation of illiterates, where high school children can't read and write. No jobs for our people, and since there are no jobs, our people are forced to survive the best way we know how. So the prisons sit there like monsters waiting to gobble up our children. Our situation is crucial, it's critical. The Ku Klux Klan is out in the open. They are going around burning crosses, burning down houses, beating black people, murdering black people. And this ain't something you read about in the news. This is real. This is going on right now. Thank you.
That was excellent, right? Yeah. Felt like she was talking to us today, right? Imagine. This has been our journey. But I want us to think about also the ways in which Mama Assata wrote. Now, I've known her in history, right? Because literally she was imprisoned in the year I was born. So if you think about this, and you think about the ways in which she wrote about and talked about in interviews ad nauseum the role of education in her radicalization, the way she talked about being in college and being together with like-minded brothers and sisters studying the writings of the revolutionaries that came before them, and that actually led to her becoming a revolutionary. We cannot underestimate the role of education. And so if we are going to think about education in our own community, we can't do that without talking about our Freedom School, Quilombo Academic and Cultural Institute, where our children are educated by revolutionaries. And at Quilombo Academic and Cultural Institute, my own child came into his own, and it changed our lives as a family unit. See, the public schools in Los Angeles County were just totally failing my child. And I saw what was a bright light being extinguished. And I remembered a woman who I heard talking about founding a freedom school back in 2005 at First African Presbyterian Church. And I remembered that woman and I called her. I said, Mama Aminata, I need help. They are trying to destroy my baby. He was in the 3rd grade. I said, I need you. It was COVID. Mama Aminata said, baby, we can enroll him next week. We are virtual. It's COVID. I will take him right now, and he will be fine. We enrolled him the following probably 2 or 3 days. And for the next 4 to 5 years, he was under the tutelage of the one and only Aminata Umoja and Tashia Umoja. And Mama Tashia and Mama Aminata have become our family in ways that they have been family to so many of you. And we've got to support Quilombo with not only our fists, not only with our words, but with our money. We have to make sure that this institution stands, because ultimately it is in these spaces that our revolutionaries are born. Thank you, Mama Assata, for bringing that back to our remembrance. Thank you, Mama Aminata. Thank you, Mama Tashia. Thank you, Quilombo Academic and Cultural Institute. Ashe. Okay, for those of you who can stand, get back on your feet and stand up for these children. Give it up for Quilombo. Yes. Yes to our current and future. We say future warriors. I'm going to call them current warriors too, right? We all know every revolution was led by young people. Hello? Hello? Let us always do all we can to pour in to our current warriors, right? So once again, shout out to the important institution that we know as Quilombo. Yes, one more time. I don't know if this was part of the program or not, but I'm going to just go on ahead and suggest that we give gratitude to Quilombo through donations too, right? So, you know, we can give all the affirmation, verbal affirmation, but we know what pays the bills too, right? Is also some cash. So you might want to skip out on a little latte or skip out or whatever you can skip out on, right? Make a little sacrifice and slide them resources into something very concrete and tangible that we can actually touch, we can actually see, we can actually experience, that will actually be of benefit to our people for generations to come, right? So what's that Cash App? I should know this by heart, my mama Nada. What's the Quilombo, yes. So go on ahead with the K. Kilombo, right? All right, y'all. So I have the great, I'm trying to make eye contact with my little brother over here, the great privilege of bringing up Mr. Che here, y'all. So, but let me say a few words if I can. So, Baba Akinyele mentioned that I had the great honor of being the national organizer for the Hands Off Assata campaign, and it was my privilege and my honor to do so. Thank you. And I shared this on another call, but we were able to do that work because of the Malcolm X grassroots movement. The Malcolm X grassroots movement had chapters and formations in place around the country, and so I was able to go to the different cities. What we did was Assata was turning 60, and we wanted to honor her. And at that time, you all know there was a bounty that was issued for her, right? And they raised the bounty at this. Right, that's right. That's right. It's because of the people, and we want to give gratitude to the Cuban government who kept her safe, right? Viva Cuba, viva Cuba, right? What do the young people still say? Stand on business? Is that old? Okay, well, I'm gonna still say it. Right? That's standing on business, right? That's honoring your word and keeping her safe, right? And that's the Cuban government and the Cuban people who kept her safe, right? And we give gratitude for that. We give gratitude for that integrity, that political integrity, right? To stand on your word and mean it. You know, we know how many times that government was attacked, right? And well, at the time, follow me back. Come back in time with me, though. Come back in time. Come back. At that time, understanding that context, being under attack, and still saying, no, we're going to honor our word. We're not going to use you as geopolitical warfare. We're not going to do that. We're going to honor our word and keep this sister safe. That's what we're going to do, right? And they did that. All right, but in that context, right, they had then raised the bounty. And then as we know later, you know, it was then raised to $2 million. But at the time, it was raised to $1 million. I ain't gonna tell y'all how one of them times it was raised under one of y'all's presidents that y'all like a lot, but we're not gonna talk about that right now. We're not gonna talk about that. What we're gonna talk about is, we ain't gonna talk about that, the contradictions. However, at that time, the bounty, you know, was issued. And as we also know what they do, and this was after the Patriot Act too, y'all remember that too? So we have COINTELPRO, and then we have the Patriot Act, and we have this kind of, look, and I'm over here like, let me get this right, because we got some historians over here, just making sure I got some fact checking going on over here. But I'm looking over there for some affirmation to make sure I got my facts straight. But I remember this because I actually lived through this. So I remember what happened after the Patriot Act too. The Patriot Act was enacted, and then all of the other security
that went into place, and the demonization of our sheroes that was right. And so at this time, as we know, I'm mixing up calls and events, but we know how our sheroes have been vilified, right, by our oppressors. It's our responsibility to make sure that our people know the truth, right? And so at that time, we had to do we had to heighten our activity around, or intensify our activity around making sure that people knew who Assata was, right? And so that was the Hands Off Assata campaign, was also to kind of introduce people, because we know Quilombo is very important because we have miseducation that is happening. Leave the education to our oppressors and we are fools, right? However, it's our responsibility to make sure that people know who she was. So anyway, fast forward, we were able to get a card commissioned for Assata by an artist who donated and created this beautiful card, and we traveled all around the country to be able to have thousands of people sign. We partnered with all the artists from Black August, Guapele, Mos Def. All the folks came out to make sure that the people knew that we loved Assata, right? And that she would feel that love somehow. So we were able to capture that and actually bring her those greetings. And so that was a great privilege and honor. And in that, I got the opportunity to meet with, work with, adore her daughter, Kikuya. And so let us give all the love for the fierceness, the brilliance, the beauty, the power of Kikuya Shakur, y'all, right? And speaking of power and brilliance, now I get to bring up one of her young folks. So this is Assata's grandson, Che, who I'm bringing to the mic now. So y'all give him some love. Recognize. So Che, Assata's grandson, will be giving some words on behalf of the family. And we want to.
A little bit, bring it up a little bit. I want to thank you all for coming here today, and all the love and support you all showing, especially in this last month and a half since she passed. It's been, I'm very grateful for that, me and my family. And now I'm going to say a few words that I wrote down. It's been a difficult time for my family. So all the love and the positive energy we're receiving means a lot. We all know the story of how my grandmother was wrongfully imprisoned and how she was liberated by a brave group of individuals on this very day 45 years ago. Thank you. My grandmother stands as a symbol of freedom, of resilience, and refusing to bow to oppression. She often referenced education as the key to fighting oppression and ignorance as the key to accepting oppression. This is a message that applies today, especially with the current climate of politics in this country and in the world. My grandmother devoted her life to fighting against unjust systems, and it is the job of everyone else to continue the fight and educate future generations about her story and her message. I want to finish by reading a quote of hers that I find to be powerful. No one is going to give, I lost it, there we go. No one is going to give you the education you need to overthrow them. Nobody is going to teach you your true history, teach you your true heroes, if they know that that knowledge will help set you free. My message was brief, but I hope it resonates with you all. And that's all I have to say. Thank you, thank you.
Y'all show him some love, some love. We love you, Che. We love you so much. When we were driving up here, he was like, what's this about to be? And I was like, you about to meet family. That's what you about to meet. It's about to be a family reunion. You got some new family. And so y'all welcome him, love up on him, support him, ask the brother what he needs, and be there for him, right? So we all in this as family.
I also have the great honor of, I'm trying to make eye contact, but I'm just assuming, because she's so dope, she listening to me, because we about to queue up. Oh, there she go, look at that. She about to queue up. So we're gonna, we thought it was really good, really important to show a clip of Eyes of the Rainbow. And so Eyes of the Rainbow is an incredible film created by Gloria Rolando, a Cuban filmmaker. And it is a clip we thought was important that is, it'll speak for itself, obviously. But we use this actually to politicize and show folks all around the country, so you get to hear Assata in her own words and see her brilliance, her power. I'm sure you all have seen it, and if you want to see more of it, it is online. But you can go ahead and roll the clip. Thank you. Obviously, the clip too, just so you all know, it's dated, but it's still powerful nevertheless, and so here we go.
The Black Panther Party came under the guns of the FBI, as did all of the Black Liberation Movement. It didn't matter what positions you took. It mattered that people related to those positions, that people understood what you were saying, that people supported you. And I think that when J. Edgar Hoover and those who controlled the United States government understood how many young people looked to the party for leadership, how many young people were inspired by the Black Panther Party, how many young people supported the activities of the Black Panther Party. And it was, people, just ordinary street people, working people, mothers, grandmothers who would come to the office and bring clothes, come to the office and make donations. So the government just perceived us as a threat because they understood that we were serious, they understood we were telling the truth, and they understood also that we were becoming a much more sophisticated opposition. We were not just the piece of pie opposition, but that we wanted a real structural change in the United States. And so we took very clear positions. We opposed the United States government intervention in Vietnam. We opposed the blockade against Cuba and all of the other U.S. policies that were hostile to the Cuban Revolution. We opposed the United States policies of supporting apartheid in South Africa. We opposed all of the U.S. government's imperialist policies against all progressive people's struggles. By the 1960s, the end of the 1960s, the Black Liberation Movement became a main target of the counterintelligence program. And what they did was to try to neutralize all of our leaders, to prevent young people from coming together and uniting. And so what they did is try to pit organization against organization. They tried to pit leaders in the same organization against each other. In New York, where I was, what they did was they arrested in, I think it was 1968, 1967, 1968, I'm not very clear on the date, I don't remember it at this moment. They arrested on charges of conspiracy 21 of our most effective activists, our most effective leaders. As a movement, we have to concentrate a lot of our energies on trying to liberate our imprisoned comrades. And even though they were given bail, the bail was $100,000 apiece. And only a few of them we were able to bail out. I think that we cannot look at the Black Panther Party in the past. We cannot look at the Black Liberation Movement as something in the past. African people are still not free, and there are still many political prisoners in the United States. It is time for us to demand total, immediate amnesty for all political prisoners and prisoners of war. If we do not take ourselves seriously, if we do not take our movements seriously, then we will have to hang our heads in front of our ancestors. Kept in a room, isolated for something like 4 or 5 days. I was beaten, tortured. It was a hellish experience. No one was permitted to see me. My aunt, who is also my lawyer, Evelyn Williams, had to get a court order for her and my mother and my sister to come and see me. I was in prison altogether 6.5 years. I spent more than 2.5 years in solitary confinement. Much of that was in men's prisons. In other words, I was the only woman. Even though they say that there are no political prisoners in the United States, I was kept in solitary confinement, kept in men's prisons because of my political beliefs. So you can figure that one out. What was prison? Prison was hell. It was a new kind of plantation. I feel like a maroon woman. I feel like an escaped slave Because what I saw in the United States in those prisons was slavery. It was black people with chains in cells. It was just poor people, just stepped on and smashed. I'll never forget what I saw. I'll never forget what I've lived through. I'll never forget what my people have lived through.
Thank you. Y'all give it up. I thought it was important to end on the part where you heard the passion in her voice, right? The plea to us to understand, because Rosalind, you mentioned this, Dr. Satchel, you mentioned this. Let me put some respect on your name. You mentioned this earlier, but everything she described is today. That fight is right now. You feel me? It is critical that we understand that every single word that came out of her mouth is 2025 today. So we must fight, because we can't hang our heads low, like she said, right? Let us not walk out this room and in our lives hanging our heads and embarrassed, right? We can't. Why? Because we fight. We fight, and it is our responsibility to do so. So speaking of our fighters, our current freedom fighters, I'm gonna bring up another student, Naya, who is going to bless us with another poem. So y'all give some love. Again, give some love. Okay, let me try it again, because Naya about to bring us some energy. So let me bring up the energy a little bit more, because Naya about to bring up some energy. So we believe in reciprocity, right? All right, so let's give her some love. Yes.
My shoes off, need to feel the ground. We cannot permit the depraved and arbitrary murders of our people by the United States government. The prisons and the death penalty are used to enslave and murder our sisters and brothers. And often those targeted are the strongest, most intelligent, most respected members of our community. The most politically and culturally aware sisters and brothers are often singled out because the government hopes that by isolating them and destroying them, that it can also isolate and destroy our resistance movement. The prisons of America are concentration camps, which are gradually being turned into extermination camps. We have got to build a strong movement to defend our brothers and sisters on death row. Our situation right now is critical. We can't run from it or hide from it. We're going to have to deal. We're going to have to get down to the nitty-gritty. We've got to determine who we are. Are we the house niggas who walk peacefully to the gas chambers? Or are we the field niggas who are going to fight for what we are nowhere free? We didn't come here no house niggas. We didn't come here from Africa, no cops. We didn't come here from Africa, no fools. We didn't come here no Uncle Toms, heeing and hawing, shucking and jiving, scratching our heads and kissing the feet of our masters. We didn't come here like that. We came here proud. We came here loud. We came here knowing who we are. We came here an intelligent, sensuous people who fought and struggled on every level from the moment that we're brought here in chains. We have got to realize who we are, and we've got to realize that we have a tradition to carry on. Sisters and brothers, our backs are up against the wall. This is the reality of our situation today. We are being attacked from every direction. The government has declared war on us. Big businesses has declared war on us. The Ku Klux Klan have declared war on us. The police have declared war on us. I cannot walk down our streets unmolested. Sisters and brothers, this is one of the most crucial periods in our history. This period may well determine whether or not we survive as a people. You take any creature, any living being on this earth, and you take it and you back it into a corner, and that creature, that being is going to come out fighting. That's the law of nature. That's the law of survival. Sisters and brothers, our backs are up against the wall, and we have got to come out fighting. We've got to come out fighting with our knowledge, with a plan, with a strategy for winning. We've got to fight like we fought in the past. We can't rely on one or two tactics. We've got to use every tactic imaginable. We cannot afford to base our liberation struggle on the whims of white people. We can't afford to let our enemies set up the rules of the game. They have the guns, we turn the cheeks. Guess what? We don't have any more cheeks to turn. It is the duty of all Black people to defend ourselves. It is our duty to defend our homes, to defend our children, to defend our community against these racist attacks. And if we neglect the duty, we are damning our children to a life of oppression and misery. History has shown us that we will never win our liberation through legislation, through the judicial system, or through integrating with white people. And it's equally clear that we cannot win our liberation through the ballot, through voting for the lesser of two evils. We need a cohesive, solid plan to win our liberation. We need a nation. Sisters and brothers, nobody on the face of this earth has more of a right to a nation than we do. We are not citizens of America. We are victims of America, and we have a right to determine our own destiny. And for anyone who says we don't is either the worst kind of racist dog or the worst kind of Uncle Tom. When Black people, new Africans, get serious about our liberation, there's nothing that can stop us. One thing that Black people can do is fight. And we fight because we grew up fighting. From the time that we're babies, we have to fight to survive. Thank you.
We've been fighting. We've been fighting. We gonna keep fighting. Yes, Mama Shabreen's over there hollering, talking back. I love it. Yes. Hey, we gonna keep fighting. And we gonna stop fighting each other so darn much. We really, we gotta stop, y'all. We are not the enemy. But we are constantly going after each other. So let's stop being crabs in a barrel. And instead, let's push each other up. Let's push each other out. Let's push each other to do better and be better. I'm gonna introduce you now to a sister who does that for me. Mama Chinganji Akinyela is my sister and my friend. She pushes me to be better, not just do better, but to be better. I remember when I first met her, I walked into a room and I was like, that's what a warrior looks like. She is tall, she is fierce, and she has a dogged determination that comes through in love. I am so grateful for her sisterhood. I am so grateful that I walk in a tradition of warrior women like her and like Mama Ahadi and like Mama Aminata, like Mama Sabrine, like Mama Asata. Mama Chinganji, take us home with a poem, please.
I've ever had an introduction like that. Thank you, Sister Roslyn. I'm a little intimidated right now, but I'm honored. I actually called my brother Akinyele and asked if I could do this poem. It feels like an honor to represent here, and I just my history with Asada, with your grandma. I remember meeting your mama in Cuba when she's wearing the uniforms in Cuba, right? And having this opportunity to go and meet with her, I just went, like, at the beginning, some of the people in my organization kind of duped me a little bit, but it's all good. But we were honored back in, I think it was 1980, 81. We were doing International Women's Day programs, and we took some of the poetry of Asada, and we created a production. It was a slideshow, production, interpretation. I'm not a poet. I'm not like my husband, who is this awesome poet, but this poem is like one that caught me, and I did have the opportunity to go. If you look at this book, how it looks, because I've done a couple of little talks and stuff on Asada, but I had the opportunity to go shortly after this book was published. Since the New African Peoples Organization endorsed the book, I was invited to come and interview Assata. So me and my little ragtag video crew, we went and did an interview, and I got a double blessing because Sister Nahanda Abiodun, another political exile, was there. And so over the years, we had this little Cuban sisterhood. And part of my job was to make them look good. Because they always used to joke about, when we get captured, we can't be looking ugly now. We can't be looking ugly. That's the diva in the revolutionary, right? The diva in the revolutionary. And of course, I was up to the task, So I want to read this poem, and I don't know when she started doing poetry, but this poem is one that has always stuck with me and represents to me who Assata Shakur is. And it's called The Tradition, and I think in the statement she mentions that we have a right, we have a responsibility to carry on this tradition. Carry it on now, carry it on. Carry it on now, carry it on. Carry on the tradition. There were Black people since the childhood of time who carried it on. In Ghana and Mali and Timbuktu, we carried it on. Carried on the tradition. We hid in the bush when the slave masters came holding spears, and when the moment was right, leaped out and lanced the lifeblood of the would-be masters. We carried it on. On slave ships, hurling ourselves into oceans, slitting the throats of our captors, we took their whips and their ships. Blood flowed in the Atlantic, and it wasn't all ours. We carried it on. Fed Missy arsenic apple pies, stole the axes from the shed, went and chopped off master's head. We ran, we fought, we organized a railroad, an underground. We carried it on. In newspapers, in meetings, in arguments, and street fights, we carried it on. In tales told to children, in chants and cantatas, in poems and blues songs, and saxophone screams, we carried it on. In classrooms, in churches, in courtrooms, in prisons, we carried it on. On soapboxes and picket lines, welfare lines, unemployment line, our lives on the line, we carried it on. In sit-ins and pray-ins and march-ins and die-ins, we carried it on. On cold Missouri midnights, against lynch mobs, on burning Brooklyn streets, pitting rocks against rifles, we carried it on. Against water hoses and bulldogs, against nightsticks and bullets, against tanks and tear gas, needles and nooses, bombs and birth control, we carried it on. In Selma and San Juan, Mozambique, Mississippi, in Brazil and Boston, we carried it on. Through the lies and the sellouts, the mistakes and the madness, through the pain and the hunger and frustration, we carried it on. Carried on the tradition, carried a strong tradition, carried a proud tradition, carried a Black tradition, carry it on. Pass it down to the children. Pass it down. Carry it on now. Carry it on to freedom for Assata Shakur.
Now, they say you can live after death. You can live after death through your work, and you can live after death through your children and grandchildren. We're going to have an example of that right now. One of our recent ancestors. He's still traveling to the pantheon of all of our new African ancestors, as Asada is. Bilal, I should say Sheikh Bilal Sunni Ali, passed last December, will be next month. And in the 1980s, he collaborated with the great Amiri Baraka, the great elder Askir Muhammad Touré on a play that captures the story of our sister Asada. And in this play, she meets one of our saints, Harriet Tubman. And so we're going to be blessed today to have, well, first of all, we want to have his children and grandchildren stand. We want them to be recognized. Bilal Sunni Ali, Bilani Sunni Ali. Because Bilal, Fulani, Ahmed, they all live with us. Ashe, Ashe, Asheo. And so we're going to have his granddaughter, Tahura, also, AKA Amma, to come and sing this song, Whirlwind, for Mama Asada and Mama Harriet Tubman. Thank you.
Peace and greetings, everybody. I gotta tilt this down a bit. I'm really short. I am Tahura Amma Sunni Ali, the granddaughter of Iya Fulani and Bilal Sunni Ali. If you don't know them, do your research. I am honored today to sing a song that my grandfather wrote and that my grandmother has sung on many occasions, called Whirlwind. And I want to take this time to just honor Mama Asada and all of the work that she put in to protect us and to protect her family and to protect herself. War is never easy. It's bound to bring on hardship. It's bound to leave you weary. Reach out for me. And war will have us parting. Our path is getting distant. We might not see each other until we win. So until then, until we win, look for me in the whirlwind. Try to see my face in the whirlwind. Try to grab my hand in the whirlwind. Do all you can to help your sister, woman, brother, man through the whirlwind. Reach out for me. Reach out for she. reach out for she, for victory.
Bilal lives. Free the land. Free the land. Free the land. By any means necessary. Ashe. So now we have the third part of this statement from 1983. How many heard this statement before? See, we got only a few hands, so we got a lot of work to do, right? Because this is the conscious part of our community, right? Right? And we got to make sure our babies know it, our children and grandchildren have heard all of her statements, because she made several. In clandestinity, you know that means you underground. That's one of PhD words. We used to say that back in the movement, actually. And she made them from Cuba, right? And she made them when she was a captive. So we need more and more. Read the autobiography, but it's a lot more she contributed to our literature of struggle. Ashe? That's part of our resistance. Ashe? So the final statement from that 1983, or final excerpt from that 1983 statement, we have another Naya Salim. She's not only a Sankofa member, one of my students, but her husband is a Quilombo student. No, excuse me, he was a Quilombo student. I don't want y'all to put your sister in jail. He's a Colombo alumni. Ashe. Bring up Naya Salim with a strong hand.
When we stop fighting each other, when we stop fighting as individuals and fight as a united Black nation, then we can't lose. We'll give America the blues. We can make them suffer, and they'll be glad to give us our nation. At this time, I'd like to say a few words, especially to my sisters. Sisters, Black people will never be free unless Black women participate in every aspect of our struggle, on every level of our struggle. I think that Black women, more than anybody on the face of this earth, recognize the urgency of our situation, because it is we who come face to face daily with the institution of our oppression, and because it is we who have borne the major responsibility of raising our children. It is we who have to deal with the welfare system that do not care about our welfare or the welfare of our children. And it is we who have to deal with the racist doctors and racist clinics. And it is we who have to deal with the school system that do not educate our children. It is we who have to deal with the racist teachers who teach our children to hate themselves. It is we who have seen the terrible effects of racism on our children, who have watched our young grow too old too soon. We who have watched our children come home angry and frustrated and see them grow more bitter and more disillusioned with the passing of each day. And we have seen the sick, trapped looks on the faces of our children when they come to fully realize what it means to be Black in America. And we know what deprivation is. How many times have we had to say no to our children? How many times have we run out of pamper money, rent money, food money? And how many times have our children go to school in hand-me-downs with holes in their shoes? We know what a hellhole America is. We are afraid to let our children go out to play. We're afraid to walk the streets at night. We sisters have buried our young, the babies that we brought into this world with such great hope for. We have seen their bodies bloated and ashen from drugs, scarred and deformed by bullet holes. We know what oppression is. We have been abused in every way imaginable. We have been abused economically, politically, we have been abused physically, and we have been abused sexually. And sisters, we have a long, glorious history of struggle on this planet. African women were strong and courageous warriors long before we came to this country in chains. And here in America, our sisters have always been on the front lines. Sister Harriet Tubman led the Underground Railroad, and sisters like Rosa Parks, Fannie Lou Hamer, Sandra Pratt, and Queen Mother Moore have carried it on. Sisters, we have been the backbone of our family. We have been the backbone of our community, and we will be the backbone of our nation. We have got to build strong family units based on love and struggle. We don't have no time to play around. A revolutionary woman can't have no reactionary man. If he's not about liberation, if he's not about struggle, if he ain't about building a strong black family, if he ain't about building a strong black nation, then he ain't about nothing. We have to know how to struggle and finagle to survive. We know what it means, sisters, to struggle tooth and nail. We know what it means to struggle with love. We know what unity is. We know what sisterhood is. We have always been kind to each other, brought each other hot soup and biscuits. We have always helped each other through the hard times. Sisters, we must celebrate African womanhood. We don't want to be like Miss Anne. She could keep her false eyelashes and her false, distorted images of womanhood. She can keep her mink stoles and her French provincial furniture. We will define for ourselves what womanhood is. And we'll create our own styles and our own ways of dress. We can have that white man in France telling African women what to look like. We will create our own new African way of living. We will create our own way of being and living in our own new African culture, taking the best of the old and mixing it with the new. Sisters, we have got to take control of our lives and our future. And we have got to come together and organize wherever we are. And we have got to organize ourselves into a strong body of African women. Sisters, we have got to take responsibility for educating our children. We can't leave the job of teaching our young, our future, in the hands of teachers who don't care about our children, in the hands of teachers who do not understand our history, the culture, the language of our children. We have got to teach our children ourselves. And in order to do that, we have got to start teaching ourselves. We have got to build survival collectives, and we've got to open liberation schools. We've got to open our own child care centers. We've got to pool our resources to survive. We've got to use the resources in our community, sisters. We've got to take control of our lives, and we've got an enormous job ahead. Sisters and brothers, we are going to win. Free the land. Free all political prisoners. Uhuru, sisters and brothers.
That was powerful. I was just thinking about how much Assata has helped my dating life. My goodness. Thank you. So many gifts that Assata gives us. My God. Right? No, that was powerful. As I was listening to that, I was also called to think about two things. One is the Black women, particularly in Cuba, who have held Assata to. So we talked about, and we mentioned Gloria Rolando's film, but she also is a comrade, and a sister, and a carer, and a nurturer, and a dear comrade. So make sure that you support her films, follow her work. She is brilliant. Rita Olga. There are many Black women in Cuba, particularly, that I was thinking about the sisterhood of being there and keeping her. And so just gratitude for that, listening to her words, and also that we give gratitude to the Cuban government, but also the sisters. The second thing that I was thinking about as I bring up Baba Kwame, correct? Okay. I mentioned every revolution is led by youth, but there's another thing that I want to make sure that we understand around successful revolutions, and that's the importance of our spirit work, too. Right? There's a lot of spirit work that happens. And so I just want to, that has made it possible. So if we think about the ceremony Bois Caiman in Haiti, for example, right? Even the Cuban Revolution, all the things, there was spirit work, important ritual work that was done, work that has been demonized, right, for a reason, but it's African-centered, it's ours, it's the root work and the earth work. And so I'm saying this because the keepers of our traditions are really important. We are revolutionary in many ways, and they're spiritual revolutions that we also need to be keepers of. And so the person that I'm calling on, Baba Kwame, I want to give deep gratitude for him for so many reasons: the knowledge, the deep wisdom, and also the keepers of our culture, the experts, the masters who make sure that we understand to carry on all of our traditions, right? Our political traditions, our spiritual traditions, right? The last thing I'll say is we always call white people's ancestors all day. When we call at the airports, the streets, we paying homage to their ancestors all day. Oh, but when we try to do it, what is it? You know what I'm saying? And so we must unapologetically lift up our ancestors. Unapologetically reclaim our traditions, right? And so I want to hand it over to Baba Kwame. I hope we can give him some love. Give him some love. Thank you for everything that you do, Baba Kwame. Thank you. Thank you for everything. I don't know where he's going, but I'm going to still keep talking. No, I'm just playing. We love you so much.
Having someone introduce the 8-bowl ceremony, I got kind of caught off guard. And it's a poem now? Oh, I'm sorry. Forgive me. I need something else then. All right. Oh, my goodness. Anyway, believe it or not, it's very difficult for a lot of us to be up here. And as I look out in the audience, I see a lot of welled eyes. And those welled eyes are results of the fact that we love Assata. We love the people who have worked and nurtured and kept Assata. But we also are remembering those who fought alongside of her. And I know that for myself, grieving for her means that I grieve for my other sisters and brothers. And sometimes it's very difficult for us to be present and be able to deliver verbally the message that needs to be shared. And if you hear the cracks in some of our voices, it's because of those tears. We are all family here, and it's important to recognize that this political family, in many respects, is even tighter and stronger than our blood family. And I heard Mama Chinganji earlier talk about that poem, Tradition, and that's one of my favorite poems. And believe it or not, I fought hard on my little Signal application to get this little poem in that I wanted to be able to share because I thought there was a tone, a rhythm that fit the occasion. And so it's interesting how spirit works in that I didn't know people were going to be reading from Assata. I know that when I come back next time, I'm going to be reading from Assata. And so spirit is just really interesting. We should know that within the next couple of weeks, the National Conference of Black Lawyers is going to have our national conference here in Atlanta. And Attorney Mauli Davis, I believe my understanding is the new chair of the National Conference of Black Lawyers, so give him some energy. And I know that there's at least 2 programs that we're going to be talking about, COINTELPRO and Assata. And I want to encourage you folks to come out and be very clear. This is Liberation Day, but there are so many other Liberation Days that are all over this country. And so although we look at this room right here and see that it might be 3/4 full, the reality is know that there's other cities that are really, really amping up this energy. And so it's our love that we are really affirming. I believe in living. I believe in the spectrum of Beta days and Gamma people. I believe in sunshine, in the windmills and waterfalls, tricycles, rocking chairs, and I believe the seeds will grow into sprouts, and the sprouts will grow into trees. I believe in the magic of hands, the wisdom of eyes. I believe in the rain and the tears. I believe in the wisdom of the eyes. I believe in the rain and the tears. I believe in the blood of infinity. I believe in life. And I believe that I've seen the death parade march through the torso of earth, sculpting mud bodies in its path. I've seen the destruction of the daylight and seen the bloodthirsty maggots paved and to sauteed. I have seen the kind become blind and the blind become blind into one easy lesson. I have walked on cut glass. I've eaten crow and blunder bread and breathed the stench of indifference. I've been locked by the lawless, handcuffed by the haters, gagged by the greedy, and if I know anything at all, it is a wall, it's just a wall, and nothing more and all. It can be broken down. I believe in living, I believe in birth, I believe in the sweat of love and the fire of truth. And I believe that a lost ship, steered by the tired seasick sailors, can be guided home to Port Posada.
Now, I mentioned when I made my comments introducing Whirlwind that we have a new African pantheon of freedom fighter ancestors. For some of them, I know we've been able to do this 8-bowl ceremony for Baba Bilal, Mama Fulani, Baba Ahmed, Baba Mutulu, Nahanda. We've been able to do this ceremony. And this is not the final ceremony for Mama Sada because the family's doing something next year in New York. Maybe we can all make it there. Maybe we all make it there. You know, Shay, I'm having surgery later next month, man. Kind of distance it so I can make it up there. I might not be able to travel too soon. But so we're going to call up Baba Watani and others who are going to participate in doing this ceremony for Mama Sada. It won't be the final one, because when we do the final one, it's a whole different thing. But in that recognition of her being an ancestor elevating, we want to call Baba Watani up now. And he'll tell us more about the ceremony.
Free land. Can I get all my comrades up here? I hate to come behind all these eloquent speakers, so y'all just got to bear with me. So we're going to do this 8-bowl ceremony. Comes from our elders in the House of Umoja. The House of Umoja was a continuation name of the Revolutionary Action Movement, also the Black Panther Party of Northern California. And they recognized that in Africa and most stable black societies, there are 4 vital stages of life that people go through, and there's an appropriate ceremony for each one: birth, initiation, marriage, and final rites. Today, we're going to be doing that final rites ceremony. We have 8 different bowls with substance in there that represent different stages in life. And so we're going to start off with the first bowl. I'm going to do that with Baba Kwame. So that's going to be strong drink. Kwame's been up here all day, huh?
Doing something. It was, I guess, divine destiny, too, that DJ Dandara asked about that clip and did that clip in terms of Eyes of the Rainbow. I want to make, if you see it, I want to make a correction. She's depicted as Oya, and according to Asada herself, because she told me, she's really Yemonya, all right, the mother. And I'm mentioning that to say that given the energy of where we are right now and what we've been witnessing is the power of the Yami, the sacred mothers, who is running the show. And too often we don't recognize that they are the fire that is necessary for revolution. Also, I should say this too. Baba Akinyele had talked about Liberation Day. He's better at it because he's our historian. I do remember there was a communique from the Black Liberation Army, too. A lot of stuff going on. Clandestine energy is necessary even this day. Strong drink is about ancestors. It's about our families, our foundation, going all the way back to Africa. Whether this is gin or rum or what, Mad Dog 2020 or something like that, I don't know. I'm supposed and what's interesting is, see, I don't drink, I'm the Kool-Aid, but I'm supposed to at least test this. So I'll do a little bit, and that stuff is strong. What can I say?
We're going to let Brother Chase take it.
All right, then, thank you. A strong drink. I don't know what it is. I can't say. But what I am going to do is share this with you. It represents, because let me just say this. You got to have a strong woman who dealt with all the stuff that she dealt with. All right? She says that she's been a part of the Black Liberation Army. That's not me saying, that's what she said. If you read, all right? The other thing I want to say is this. We do know that patriarchy exists, and it still exists, and it existed back then. The FBI was saying she's the mother hen, the soul of the Black Liberation Army. But we understood their intention. Their intention was to create discord so the effectiveness of the BLA, the Black Liberation Army, would be weakened. Strong sister, strong family, strong lineage. Wherever my grandmother heard about somebody being mistreated, especially when it was a man mistreating a woman, she would stare at me and say, "Don't let anybody mistreat you, you hear? We're not raising you to be mistreated, you hear?" The tactics of my grandparents were crude, and I hated it when they would repeat everything so often. But the lessons that taught me were more than anything else I learned in life. It helped me deal with the things that I would face growing up in America. My grandparents were big on respect. My mother is proud of me. She loves me and she's proud of me. And all of this is so hard on my family. They took the vulnerable and the shaken. It was maybe harder on them than it was on me. I wish there was something I can do to make them happy. Invictus, if we must die, there were poems I would read. I read them over and over and over until I was sure that the guards had heard every word. The poems were my messages to them. When I read a book about Black women, I felt the spirits of those sisters feeding me making me stronger. Black women have been struggling and helping each other survive the blows of life since the beginning of time. Ancestors built Asada.
Honey, I'm sorry, I'm giving directions up here,
Oh. Free the land. So, you know, when I first read about the liberation of Assata, I was a young activist. And I, you know, at the time learning about Assata, I considered myself an activist. I didn't belong to any particular organization. I just lived through I read a lot, more than anything. I read a lot. And so what impacted me most during that time when I was reading about Assata and our liberation movement, more or less what was happening to our political prisoners being murdered and incarcerated, it was really a time for me that I felt defeated. And so when I read about Assata, when I read about this movement, and as a young activist, it was the sweetest feeling that I ever felt. Because I said, you know, it's possible. We can win. We actually can win this. And there has been no other feeling for me that has been that sweet as to know that she was able to be liberated. I didn't know what, I didn't know how, I didn't know anything about it because I was a young woman. But it happened. How it happened, I don't know. But I just remember the elation. I remember the excitement. I remember all those things. And so when I read about Assata's liberation, I understand that the sweetness of her victory is the sweetness of our movement. And it is honey. It's honey. That is the sweetness. We have a sweetness in our victory, and that victory is honey. So this bowl represents honey. It symbolizes our fight for freedom. It is protracted, and we can win because Assata represented our victory. Assata made her transition as a free woman on Cuban soil. She sacrificed so much for us to be free. Her win is our win. So we celebrate her today and all that she represents. Honey, sweetness.
Black revolutionaries do not fall from the moon. We are created by our conditions. That's Mama Assata. First, let me just give thanks to the ancestors and my elders for giving me permission to speak to you. To the House of Umoja for bringing this tradition to the diaspora. And to Baba Makunga for putting it in words so I could study and learn about this 8-bowl ceremony. Ritual is very important to us, and we have to get back to ritual. I represent lime, and we know a little bit about lime. We see it in our drinks, or they put it on the little glasses when they give us our margaritas.
All right.
Know a little bit about lime in our foods. Give it a little zest, a little bit of zing. But lime represents the bitterness in life. It's like the opposite of honey. But we have to know that. We have to have that in life to appreciate the honey. And Mama Assata was brought up by her grandparents. Well, her mom too, but her parents divorced when she was very young, and her grandparents brought her up in South Carolina, I think. She was born in New York, but they moved to South Carolina, where she was brought up on a beach community that her grandparents lived on, and she was very observant. Her grandparents taught her serious respect. She couldn't just say, like our children today say, yes. She had to say, yes, grandma, or yes, granddad. And she was taught that you don't give respect to people that don't respect you. I don't care who they are. So when she was in jail, if the guard talked to her ugly and didn't respect her, she didn't do what they told her to do. And she told them why. Police. If they asked her a question and they didn't give her respect the way they asked her the question, she didn't answer them. She was in jail and her arm, she had lost function of her arm. She didn't know what was going on. But she told the doctor, well, I need a sling. He said, you don't need a sling. You all right? You can endure it. We all have to endure some stuff that that's not comfortable. But her grandmama and mama had taught her how to resist. And they had taught her how to do it with dignity. And so that's what she did. She endured her hardship, even in prison, with dignity. So the bitterness was balanced. She remembered the days of being on the beach when she was in jail, and they had her in that little small cell. She couldn't get around much, so she just started walking around the cell. They telling her to sit down. She said, well, let me out then. So if you don't want me to walk around, let me out. They wouldn't let her out, so she just kept walking. So she was groomed to deal with the bitterness. Baba Kwame been channeling me all day, so he read the poem that I was going to read. But I just want to end with her words in her affirmation. I believe in living. I believe in truth. I believe in the sweat of love and in the fire of truth. And I believe that a lost ship, steered by tired, seasick sailors, and still got it home to port. Ashe.
I have salt. Salt's an interesting substance, right? If you have high blood pressure like me, they tell you stay away from salt. But salt has a purpose, right? It's a preserver. It's a preserver. I think about preservation and how Assata was preserved by her people. I think that's the salt substance, so to speak. It also gives flavor to foods, right? Whenever, I can't eat salt, but when I have something with salt in it, I'll be like, ooh, that's good. So it gives flavor. And I think about Assata being in Cuba and how she said to me one time, well, you know, exile ain't home. It ain't the flavor of New York, right? I can't walk the streets and get the flavor of New York. So I think about salt representing the flavor, the thing that kept her going. The people coming in and out to show her the latest dances, bringing her the latest sounds, the latest songs, so that she could stay in tune and have variety in her life. So salt represents that. Ashe.
Freeland. I got my brother Makunga helping me because we're going to give this brother cayenne pepper. Jay, this is for the hot and critical times. Early on, I said this ceremony was developed by our ancestors, our elders. Yeah. So we give it to him now because now I can talk a little longer. I wasn't talking before, and I'm talking slow because I think we're living in hot and critical times. We know our sister and our comrade went through hot and critical times. Being shot with your hands in the hair is hot and critical. Having to go into exile is hot and critical times, right? And then after they said your favorite president opened up travel again, our sister had to go further underground because they had bounty hunters coming forward. These are hot and critical times, Che. How you feeling? You feeling hot? You feeling inspired? See, because he can stand this, can't he? He comes from good stock. He stands on the shoulders of your grandmother, of your mother. Your mother was conceived during hot and critical times. You came into this life during hot and critical times. I will argue you're still in hot and critical times, y'all. Are we dealing with hot and critical times? Should we give him some relief from this cayenne pepper, y'all? Has he had enough lingering on his tongue? How you feel, young man? You feel good? I can't hear him. You feel good? So we're not that cruel, though. I'm going to let Makungu talk a little bit now.
Our ancestors teach us that the earth is not our home, it's just the marketplace. We come here to learn lessons to build good character. That's what all these things are for. So after you've gone through reconnecting with your ancestors through the strong drink and remembering the sweet times, the sweet memories through the honey, and after you've experienced the bitterness of betrayal through the lime and the wisdom of the salt and the choices we get, and then you get to that hot and critical times. By that time, you should have built good character. Our ancestors teach us it's not what you go through, it's how you go through it. What we know from Asata's life is that what she went through, she got through because she was a woman of Iwapele, good character. She was what my grandma would call just a righteous woman. And so we just want to remember that even as we endure these hot and critical times that we're going through with fascism right now today, that it's the character that we have and that we build that will get us through it. And character is about remembering connections and community and remembering our brothers and sisters and not folding up into selfishness and individualism. So remember, hot and critical times requires good character.
So, Baba Akinyele is going to take up some water. We are merciful people as well. As a young child, I remember being told repeatedly, being pounded in my head, water is good for you. You need to drink 8 glasses of water a day. It helps you to hydrate and eliminate. It gets rid of your zits, and it can help you lose weight. Well, scientifically, we know that it does aid in that digestion of food, that it helps to regulate our body temperature externally and internally, that it increases blood flow circulation, transplants or transports nutrients, lubricates our joints, increases our muscle flexibility, and it can soothe a headache. Like most children, my siblings and I were reluctant to drink just plain water, so my mother would camouflage it to make it more palatable. We happily consumed it in its various iterations, like frozen popsicles, semi-solid, fruity Jell-O gelatin, and red liquid Kool-Aid. She knew that in all these altered states, it was still the same, constant, consistent, and stable H2O. As a revolutionary Black nationalist, our sister warrior Asata was able to embody and emulate the versatility of water while remaining constant, consistent, and stable in her commitment to our liberation struggle. She was able to pivot and divert when faced with immense, formidable obstacles. She conformed and acclimated in life-threatening critical situations. She was flexible and adaptive to completely new and unfamiliar circumstances. She was loving, nurturing, and empathetic, and aggressive, forceful, and outspoken when necessary. As revolutionary New African nationalists, we need to learn from and follow our sister warrior Assata's example as we honor her today. We need to be constant, consistent, and stable in our commitment to our liberation struggle, yet be versatile, flexible, and diverse in our approach, strategy, and tactics. We need to be more like water.
Next substance we have is African palm oil. When our ancestors were independent, when we were sovereign, something we should be striving for today. We had our own institutions. We used palm oil to trade. Sister Assata, you heard the statement? She talked about developing survival collectives, schools and collectives, things of that nature. But she was also part of building another institution that freed her, the Black Liberation Army, Ashe.
Free the land. I get to do coconut, and I'm going to ask someone somebody, maybe my sweet husband, to pass out that coconut, because we want you all to get a taste of coconut. We used to say that coconut, long time ago, man, meant good luck, but we stopped saying that. Coconut is for blessings. Coconut is about spirituality. Coconut is about tapping into that source, whatever you call that source. Yahweh, Oludumare, Mawu, Jehovah, Allah, Inyame. There's so many names, but you got to tap into that source. How did Assata do it? Most of us, nobody in this room. The police knock on the door, they might start talking. Nobody in this room. We were trained, you don't talk to the police. Assata was tortured and still didn't talk. Assata kept her head up through being in prison. And then what happened? Some African angels. And you know why I know this? Because Sekou Odinga came to Quilombo and told the children. African angels literally looked at where she was and said, oh no, we're going to get her. And they freed her. And she went to Cuba and lived her life. I had the opportunity to meet Assata when I traveled to Cuba with my comrades, my sisters, and I was so impressed because she wasn't angry. She wasn't bitter. She was love. How do you keep loving when you've been tortured? How do you keep loving when you can't see your family? Her daughter was there for a while, but she couldn't really see her family. How do you keep loving? I want to suggest to you that she's already taught us through the Creator, Allah, Jehovah, Oludumare, Mawu, whatever you call that source is in you. And you can overcome any challenge, just like Assata. Oh man, I be whining. It gets on Akanyele's nerves. I be like, how we gonna pay the teachers this month? We don't have no money. Tashia be like, Mama, what we gonna do? And I don't know. But the Creator, the ancestors on our side, we will win. Tap into the spirit of Assata Shakur. Tap into the Creator that lives in you, in your DNA, in your bloodstream, the ancestors. We will win.
You getting the ball? Please give our brother. You got to share the coconut. You can't just take all the coconut. So this concludes our 8-bowl ceremony. It is a Pan-African ceremony because we're New Africans, we're Pan-Africans, we're internationalists. And we have to recognize that we came from many different places. And before we got the DNA test, we didn't know where we came from. We came from someplace, but we came together. And so this ceremony represents many different parts of Africa. Some of y'all may see some things that look like the Yoruba, the Akan. So because we are all of them, right? So this is the conclusion of it. Che, I hope you enjoyed the substances. I know you, I know you're feeling that cayenne. That cayenne, you like that, don't you? Yeah. Yeah, I like his spirit. You like his spirit. Don't even phase him because you know how to deal with this hot and critical time. Thank y'all for coming out and thank you for participating in the ceremony. Ashe.
Free the land. Free them all. Free them all. Free them all. Now, Shay has one other grandparent that's here in Georgia. We oftentimes don't give him enough love. How many of y'all know, I mentioned Black Liberation Army. Assata was in Black Liberation Army here in Atlanta for a period. Yeah, I didn't know that till I went to this brother's trial. Okay, so Kamal Siddiqui. So we're gonna bring up Brother Musinguzi, AKA Moose, to talk about the Free Kamal Siddiqui campaign. Ashe. Free them all. Free them all. Free them all.
All right, free land, y'all. My apologies. I feel very underdressed. I came here with my mind on I'm doing security, and I forgot I needed to do this piece. So my name is Moose. I am an organizing member for the Atlanta chapter of the Malcolm X Grassroots Movement. Also a member of the International Campaign to Free Kamal Siddiqui. Also a member of the National Conference of Black Lawyers. And I'm a lawyer by training. And as a part of the campaign to free Kamal Siddiqui, who, as I'm sure most of the folks in here know, Black Panther Party veteran, Black Liberation Army veteran, father of Kikuya, and has been in Augusta State Medical Prison since the early 2000s. I had the distinct honor and pleasure to be able to see Baba Kamal a few times as part of the committee and the efforts to get our Baba out. Even got to go once with Baba AK. And so just wanted to give a quick update on where things are at and how folks can plug in. Over this summer, the campaign was instrumental in helping put together a parole packet for Baba. This is second time up for parole, first time having a packet actually submitted because when he was up for parole the first time, didn't really give him any notice and weren't able to put anything together. And so we were able to put together a pretty robust parole packet. No official words that, at least that I'm able to communicate in this space around that, so we're still waiting to hear back. But the struggle continues. He has a number of health issues that keep popping up. Seems like every 4 or 5 months. He already had some health issues when he went inside back in the early 2000s, and so he's one of our few remaining PPs that we need to get out. And so as a part of the Malcolm X Grassroots Movement, I sort of help support some of our Free Them All work. And so a couple ways in which people can potentially support with that work. The International Campaign has a meeting every Monday evening at 7 o'clock, and so folks want information on that. I'm happy to share that with you. We're also taking donations, and you can do that through, if you just Google Free Kamal Siddiqui, you can find I believe it's a PayPal, if I'm not mistaken, because we know he's gonna come home. right? We know he's gonna come home, right? All right. And we also know that, as has been the case with a lot of our other former political prisoners who come home, they have needs when they get here. And so there's no shortage of money that we can raise in order to make sure that Baba not only comes home, but comes home comfortably, is able to get the medical services that he needs, is able to get the housing that he needs, and is able to get the love that he deserves, right? Because as we know with Mama Assata and so many of our fighters, they loved us, right? They loved us, and they loved us enough to make that sacrifice. And so those are the main, I would say, calls to actions. If folks are interested, if you want to get involved sort of more locally, we can rap on the side as well. You can support some of our local work, because we'll probably be doing sort of a strategy session in the next couple months to kind of figure out what are the goals going to be for 2026, depending on how things go with this parole packet. And so I think I'm complete. So thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Give it up for Moose, y'all. Thank you, Moose. We love you. That brother just came off a flight straight into doing all the things, so we give so much gratitude for you. I'm gonna actually ask Dr. Satchel to come up with me, Reverend Doctor, the good Reverend Doctor Satchel to come up with me, because I think that was an excellent segue. We wanna raise resources, y'all, and so I wanna really just charge every single one of us. I feel like sometimes we feel like we don't have a lot of money, but I just want to charge us to remember the abundance that is within us and within our communities. We are tapped into abundance. If we can be really creative, there are all kind of ways we can be thinking about the abundance that we are rooted in, and I think that's going to be really critical for us, right, fam? And so with that, we want to raise money for our political prisoners because we know they are coming home, including Kamau Siddiqui, just to reiterate that, right? And we also want to raise resources for the family of our loved ones that we're talking about today, particularly Assata. And so she still has family here, right, with us, our loved ones, our beloveds. We just met her amazing grandson, her daughter. So we would really love to invite you to dig deep, 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 deep. And you have this code here that you all see to make sure. I'm gonna kick it over to Rosalind, the good doctor, because I know she got some good words for y'all about why and how it's important to bless our sister Kikuya and her family.
Thank you, DJ Dandara. I tell you, it's always a blessing to give. You know, I know that a lot of us are struggling right now. Let's just be real about it. We are being attacked on every side. Many of us have lost our jobs. Many of us are having our jobs threatened, but we still have to take care of each other. As a part of our tradition, as people of African heritage, as people in the Pan-African diaspora, we have always been a people of mutual aid. We have always been a people of mutual aid. We took care of each other when we didn't have nothing. Mama would go outside in the field, pull something together, auntie would bring something, grandma would bring something, and the rest of them would bring something. We come from a connection to indigenous people who had everything torn away and stolen and yet still provided. Not only for themselves and their own communities, but for the African maroon people who were escaping Massa and them. So why do we get uncomfortable when we are called on to give? Why? Because we've been exploited. Why? Because we've had to deal with people who have misused our resources. Why? Because we don't know who to trust sometimes. Because too many smooth-talking preachers pimping the people stand up on podiums like this, in the pulpit, all too often, under the guise of caring for our people and doing something else with those funds. Let's just call it out. Let's just name it for what it is. Let's just be real about it. And let's acknowledge the fact that we ain't them. And that's not happening up in this space. Let's acknowledge that for many of us, Pan-Africanism is the last bastion of a spiritual community that we have. We get sick and tired of being sick and tired in traditions that don't really respect us. And so now we here together in a Pan-African space, upholding our mission of mutual aid, and we are asking you to dig deeper. We're asking you, we are begging you to help us provide for our political prisoners and their families. Because you know if you and I are struggling, you know how they gonna be struggling. You're clear. Follow your heart. You don't have to worry about people exploiting you or misusing your gifts in this space. We're coming from a pure place. And we are going to make sure that this money goes to the purposes for which it is intended. So please, brothers and sisters, give, and go get some more people to give. Because we have a responsibility to care for the folks who have given their very lives for us. Ashe, ashe, ashe. I'm so grateful to be together with y'all today. Anybody here grateful? I'm great. I needed this. I don't know about you, but there are times when no other space will do. There are times when I feel so very isolated and alone. And I don't know who to trust sometimes anymore. And so I'm grateful for your presence, and I'm grateful for Baba Akinyele Umoja for coordinating this wonderful, beautiful opportunity. Everything that has happened here today, from DJ Dandara ushering us into this space with the tunes on the wheels of steel. Come on, y'all, give her some love. To our elders, Mama Akila, I didn't call your name earlier, so I want to start by calling your name. But all of our elders who have been here to help us to relearn and learn and experience the traditions that you and I will be teaching to those who come behind us. There will be a day when this will be your responsibility. And so please study and learn with them while we have them here. Love on them. Tell them thank you. Honor their presence. And as I bring up our next our brother, I want to do so with a beautiful quote from Mama Assata Shakur. Because we do read, Baba Kwame, we do. We read. In order for us to effectively change this world, we have to change ourselves. And the ways we relate to each other as human beings, really being concerned about people who are struggling with us and how we create community. Brother Mauli Davis is one of those brothers who we can always depend on, who helps us to show the ways in which we are being concerned about the people who are struggling with us. I remember being in Los Angeles and watching the news often about the atrocities happening in the state of Georgia around our people being harassed, killed, assaulted, and over-policed. And I remember always seeing this brother on the front lines representing the people nobody else wanted to represent because they couldn't pay the fees that people were paying. But somehow or another, Davis Bozeman law firm was always willing to step out there and represent. And so I have the honor of introducing our brother who we already know and cherish through his work. We know him as the former chairperson of the board of directors of Quilombo Academic and Cultural Institute. We know him as a lawyer and attorney representing the voiceless in our community. We know him for all the ways he has put his resources where his mouth is. We know Brother Mawuli Davis because he does the work, he doesn't just talk about it. And as he walks into his term as the chair of the board of the National Council for Black Lawyers, we want to say, brother, we love you, we appreciate you, we honor you. Please come and bless us with a solidarity statement.
I said, I'm gonna have to hire her. Mama T, I feel the same. Mama T, I feel the same way as you feel. I want to start. My wife, Jane, and my mom, Marietta, are here, and we want to extend our family condolences to the family, extended, and to the comrades. We don't want to let that get past us because it's political, but it's family. And we want to stop for a moment and just honor you all, the Shakur family, and we just give thanks that we have this moment to say to you how much we grieve with you and we love you and we support you in this continued journey. And then I also, I spoke with Imam Jamil Al-Amin on yesterday, and he wanted to extend his salams to the family and to Malcolm X grassroots movement in particular, and to encourage you all to keep doing what you're doing. It is keeping him inspired as he continues his treatment, and we continue to fight to liberate yet another political prisoner. Ashe. I just want to read very briefly from the statement. I encourage you all to go to ncbl.org. We published the statement when Assata made transition, and it was drafted and written by Brother Lennox Hines and Adjoa Ayatora. And I'll just share parts of it, not all of it, because it's a little long. If you all know how lawyers write, we can write and we can talk. But I want to get to some key points because NCBL has a long history in supporting Mama Assata. Our warrior sister, Assata Shakur, transitioned from this plane on September 25th, 2025. She committed her life to the movement for Black liberation and gave her life for it. Her courage and commitment are a legacy to the movement for Black liberation. NCBL provided lifetime legal support for Assata Shakur over the past 52 years since May 2nd, 1973. At the request of Hayward Burns, Lennox Hines assisted NCBL attorney Assata Shakur's aunt and lead defense counsel, Evelyn Williams, in assembling Assata's defense team. NCBL attorneys Lou Myers joined the legal team. NCBL's associate director at the time of her arrest and trial spoke on the inability of Assata to receive a fair trial, indicating that the judge lacked the judicial temperament and racial sensitivity to fairly adjudicate her case. In fact, she had already been tried in New York and either exonerated or the charges were dismissed. In the New Jersey trial, there was evidence, among other things, that Assata was unable to hold a gun at that time. Lennox Hines represented Assata in challenging the conditions of confinement in the New Jersey prison where she was being held during and after her trial. He also represented her at times throughout her almost 50 years of exile in Cuba and provided legal support and counsel to her family. Assata was liberated from the New Jersey prison and given political asylum in Cuba. Yet, this was a hard life she chose to live in her lifelong commitment to Black liberation. Our dear sister spent most of her adult life in political exile, suffering the painful separation from her family. The Cuban government followed the 1951 UN International Refugee Convention in granting her political asylum. The convention was used by France to support granting asylum to 3 Black Panthers. Although granted political asylum by the Cuban government, Sister Assata's movements in Cuba became more and more restricted due to the United States and New Jersey funded bounty hunters attempting to capture her. Yes, Cuba demonstrated its support for the movement for Black liberation in defying the United States' demands for her return, and yes, our dear sister gave her life for Black liberation. NCBL honors Assata's life and mourns her death. May she finally find rest and peace as she joins the ancestors, including her aunt, Evelyn Williams, Lou Myers, Chokwe Lumumba, Joan Gibbs, and her Black Liberation Army comrades, including Mutulu Shakur. If the NCBL members, if you all who are present, if you all could rise, please. I know Sister Natsu, Moose, Jana, Baba Kwame. On behalf of NCBL, we just want to thank the Malcolm X Grassroots Movement for allowing us to participate. We look forward to another conversation at our national convention, which will be here at Georgia State College of Law. That will be November 13th through the 15th, and so we ask you all to join us. We're looking forward to a conversation that helps our young people learn more about Mama Assata in a way that it inspires them to continue the work and to free the land. Free the land, free the land, free the land by any means necessary.
All right. Now we get a chance to have another familiar face join us and lead us. You know, one of the things that we learn, or at least I learned in Black church tradition, Black religious tradition, is that we are nothing without call and response. And there is something very significant about the ways in which this is a communication experience that we have, where this is not just a top-down experience. In fact, back in the day, mothers would sit in the amen corner and have a way of telling the preacher when to sit down, right? Like the call and response issue was a significant one. Lord, help him. Mercy suits her case. Lord, bless her. And it was a way of communicating, it's time for you to sit on down. And then there were times when the communication would be, preach, preach, preacher. And that was a way of signifying that now you on the right road. Stay there. Keep going. Well, in movement tradition, we have these kinds of chants as well. And Sister Mary Hooks is here today. And we love Sister Mary. And I'm asking Sister Mary Hooks to join me here in the pulpit in large part because one of the beautiful things that I have come to know about this sister, in coming from LA where I worked with Black Lives Matter in our original chapter, I came to Atlanta in a place of real hurt. And I got to Quilombo one morning, one of my first mornings, and I saw a sister drive up in a car that said, "Defund the police" on the side of it. And I said, I'm at home. These are my people. This is my people. And I have come to understand Mary in so many different ways as a true sister and a true leader in our movement. And if you'd like to join me up here, I will pass the mic to you, sis, and let you lead us forward in a chant of revolutionary call and response.
I just first want to say thank you for allowing me to share this space and for putting the call out. I was yearning for the container. I was like, somebody gonna do it? Who doing it? And I happened to be in Oakland, I think the week after she passed away, and got a chance to break bread and share space with the comrades there in the celebration of Assata's life, Mama Assata's life. But was yearning for it to happen in Atlanta. And I too am in between some travel. And I was like, I know I gotta go to the airport, but I gotta be up in this for my soul and for my own spirit. And to commune with you all, because I do believe that, and I believe you all would agree that grief is also a communal practice. Yeah? And so I was invited to do this chant. But I want to name something I think is so interesting. The first time I heard Assata's words being chanted, it was not on the front lines of the BLM movement, which, you know, snatched that thing and ran with it, okay, honey? It wasn't there. It was actually at an LGBTQ conference. We're here in Atlanta. My comrade, Paulina Helm Hernandez, a Chicana woman that comes out of Veracruz, Mexico, led the audience of a diverse crowd of people in the chant. And I was moved then and remain moved by not just the words, but what it has meant for her legacy. What it has meant for her legacy to cross all sorts of boundaries, across all types of ideological traditions, all types of movement sectors and struggles. And I'm grateful that I too believe have been shaped by many of those legacies. And so I feel in my integrity when I say, I'm gonna go ahead and say this thing. As someone who, when I first read her work, it made my life make so much more sense. It's one of the moments where I got to be like, oh, this isn't our fault. This ain't our fault. And one of those things that you read and you see someone's life, and in these times in particular, what we're seeing happening with Black movement and the radical left being demonized, I can only hope I can only desire that I be fortified enough to have the courage of conviction to be able to withstand torture or withstand lies and rumors, and y'all know what they do to us. And so that's when I say this. I am saying it as an invitation. This is my alarm from my dad. It's an alarm from my dad that I do every day. My pa passed, and I do this every day for my dad. But yeah, so when I say this, and this is an invitation for when you say this, that it is an invitation for all of us to stand up straighter, to have the level of political discipline, the rigorous Black joy and love that we also desperately need. And that we not only ground it in the actual chant, but my dear comrade said, Hooks, don't you get up there and say that chant without reading the first paragraph, the paragraph that comes before the chant. And I believe in an assignment, so I will do my assignment, comrade. Yes, if you're able to, stand up on your feet. There is and always will be, until every Black man, woman, and child is free, a Black Liberation Army. The main function of the Black Liberation Army at this time is to create good examples, to defend ourselves, and let no one disrespect us. I'm gonna say that again because there's mad disrespect going on right now, y'all. Let no one disrespect us. We must gain our liberation by any means necessary. And so when we do this chant, we do it 3 times. The first time, you say it to yourself, because we trying to transform ourselves first. Then that second time, you make sure you look somebody in the eye. Be accountable to your words. Be accountable to it. And that third time, we say it so loud that folks on this side, folks in the material and the spirit on the other side of the wall and all across this globe should feel our energy. Yeah? You're with me on it, friends? All right, so the first time to yourself, it is our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty to win. We must love each other and support each other. We have nothing to lose but our chains. Now look at somebody and tell them it is our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty to win. We must love each other and support each other. We have nothing to lose but our chains. Now let's say it real loud. It is our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty to win. We must love each other and protect each other. We have nothing to lose but our chains. Free to land. Free to land. By any means necessary.
That's strong. And we got another collective communal oath to do. It was one that Sister Asada did herself. And I don't know, I'm gonna try to get corroboration on this, but there was another Shakur running around New York. A brother who's now our ancestor, Dr. Mutulu Shakur. His son is in the back. We want his son to live, to stand up. And he went around New York in the late 60s, and he got a lot of the New York Panthers to take this oath, allegiance to New African Nation. I want to tell a brief story. I told him I would tell a story about his father. Like I said, I was in New York a few days after she was liberated. Now, the state and Brother Sekou already said he was down. Let's give Ashe to Sekou Odinga. We know Kwesi Balagoon. We want to shout him out. We want to shout out Mtari Shabaka Sundiata, Brother Matulu's comrade. Ashe. We also know another ancestor, Marilyn Buck, and who's still alive, Sylvia Berardini. Now, I don't have any evidence he was involved, but I remember when I was in New York, I usually would see Matulu when I went to New York. And I was in the car with his ex-wife at that time, Afeni Shakur, Sister Nahanda, and Sister Aisha's father, and one other person, Blood McQuarrie. I said, I haven't seen Matulu around, and they all just start chuckling. They knew something I didn't know. So you can take the story for what you want to take it. But we want to bring up Baba Ahmed's daughter to lead us in that oath that Matulu would have administered to Assata. Aisha T. Aisha T.
I was gonna ask my cousin Talib to come up and my sister and my nieces to come and stand up here with me. So just a few things. Free the land, family. So Baba Kamal has two daughters, Kakuya and Kasise. So I just wanted to say that. And you can hear the episode that we talk about growing up Siddiqui, season 4, episode 2, with me and my sister's podcast, Daughters of the Whirlwind, Sees the Revolution. So, streaming everywhere. I also need to talk about the fact that family is not always blood. So I don't know if many of you know the story. So yes, people come from their blood families, but then they choose family. So I am part of the Shakur family. We are all part of the Shakur family because our parents chose Saladin Shakur, and we call him Abba, as their spiritual father and guide. He walked with Malcolm X, and he was the one who taught them how to love themselves, and he was their first political educator. So give honor and thanks to Saladin Shakur, his wife Mariama Shakur, his blood children, Zaid Shakur and Lumumba Shakur. There was also Wakil Shakur, Matulu Shakur, Afeni Shakur, Sekou Odinga, Bilal Sunni Ali, and Fulani Sunni Ali. And Afeni Shakur, did I say that? Okay. So right now we're gonna say the New African Oath. And I was born a citizen of the Republic of New Africa, as well as a Panther Cub. So we are going to face the flag, raise your right fist, and you will repeat after me. For the fruition of Black power. For the triumph of Black nationhood. I pledge to the provisional government of the Republic of New Africa and to the building of a better people and a better world. My total devotion, my total resources, and the total power of my mortal life. Free the land. Free the land. Free the land. By any means necessary.
Give him another hand. So I want to invite my other co-MCs to come up here. Just to close this out. I mean, I had the formal closing already. Now, one thing I have to do, or I'm not going to be able to eat for 2 months. 2 months, I won't have dinner, is November 20th. We have Educate to Liberate, so we want to invite everyone to come to Educate to Liberate to support the Colombo School. Just because Oh, yeah, 2 other schools. And 2 other schools as well. We also, the Malcolm X Grassroots Movement will be giving Kwanzaa on December 27th. Be on the lookout for that news. Any other announcements?
We just want to thank the folks up in the booth, especially because they are products of Quilombo Academic and Cultural Institute. We got Richard Ayodele Satchel, and tell me the other name. Amir. Shamir. Jamir. I can't hear, I'm sorry. Speak more clearly, son. But yes, no, we want to thank them. We want to thank Mount Welcome Baptist Church for allowing us to use the space. We are always welcome at Mount Welcome, and we really do. We appreciate that. We want to say thank you to all of the members who are present of the Malcolm X Grassroots Movement. Am I forgetting anybody?
And I definitely, you gotta give it up for our students in Sankofa Society for representing. They all volunteering, I ain't paying them. They ain't getting no grade. But they came here on their own. Now, I might look out for them if they enroll in class, though. Give them a little break. Because I respect soldiers. You know, and somebody helped me out, so I got to help them out. All right. Nandar? So we want you to give a hand to yourselves.
Oh, wait, y'all can do better than that. Give a hand to yourselves. Come on with the self-love. Give a hand to Baba Akinyele Moja one more time. Dr. Moose, thank you, Moose, for helping to plan this. And Reverend Dr. Satchel, too. One more time, please, y'all. All right, I'm going to groove out over there. It's DJ Dundada. Just so you all know, you can check me on IG if you like, DJ Dundada Vibes. There's some snacks in the back. We're not supposed to bring it in the sanctuary space, but please feel free to help yourself. A little nourishment in the back while I rock out. And just make sure you get to know each other if you don't know each other, and introduce yourselves. And if you don't have a political home, consider joining the Malcolm X Grassroots Movement. Everybody should be a member of an organization. And so make sure you have some kind of organization that you belong to. And so, but yeah, I'm gonna rock out. And y'all have a anything else?
Big hand to
Oh.
MC.
Okay.
We are grateful to Mama Hadi and Baba Watani with the Community Aid and Development Corporation. We are always grateful for your leadership. We thank you so much for helping to make sure we didn't miss out on this important part of the program.
I do want to give, as a finance person, as a person who manages resources, that's the behind the scenes stuff that, we have to have good books, right, and accountability. Integrity is really important in our movement, amen? And so just giving deep gratitude to CAD for all that infrastructure that you're able to do. So speaking of integrity, thank you. We're gonna present this to Che. He didn't know this was coming, but we're gonna present it to you to give to the family, and just to let everybody know that all the resources are going directly to the family. So thank you, Che. Can you accept it for us, please? Thank you. And we'll give it to the family. So, thank you, everybody. One more time. Much love. We love y'all.